Hello everyone and welcome back to my Skillshop project series. In the previous task, we designed the single product view page using HTML, CSS, Tailwind and JavaScript. Now in task 23, we are going to program this page using PHP and MySQL. In this tutorial, we will retrieve the product details from the database, display seller information, show reviews and ratings, display related products, check purchase status, handle watch list and cart logic, and finally calculate the seller statistics. By the end of this video, our product view page will be fully dynamic and connected to the database. So let's get started. Now first we will create this file product view.php file. Then here we will first start a session. If a session is not started, then we will include the database connection. The session is necessary because we need to know if the user is logged in, their account type and their user ID. So here we will check the authentication. This ensures that unauthorized users cannot access restricted functionality. Then we will store some session data, the logged in and the user role and the user ID. So this helps us when checking the purchases, the watch list, then the cart and the seller restrictions. Now after that we will get the product ID. Here we will read the product ID from the URL. We will get it by using the variable product ID, and it is assigned to int12 get ID. So this means that int12 ensures the value of the ID is numeric. After that we will validate it by if the product ID is invalid, the user is redirected to the product search page. This prevents errors or invalid queries. Then we will fetch the product category and the seller from the database. So now we will write the main query. So here we will use the left join to retrieve related data. Here we will join the product table with the category table and the user table. This allows us to get the product details, the category name, the seller's name and the seller's join date. Then after that we will check if the product ID exists. If not, it will be sent back to the search products.php file. Then we will fetch. If it's true, we will fetch the data from the database. Now the P variable contains all the product information. So here we will calculate the product statistics such as the average rating, then the number of reviews and the number of students. So in this first query, this returns the average rating and the total review count, and the next query counts the number of students, and then we will store the values to the variables average R, rev C and to C. So this means it has the average rating. Now this variable has the review count and the last variable has the student count, and next we will get the reviews. So here we will load the latest reviews in this query. This query joins the feedback with the users, then retrieves the reviewer names and limits the results to 8. Then after that we will store them in an array to the variable reviews. Now the variable reviews array contains all the review data. Next we will calculate the seller statistics. So this calculates the total courses by the seller, then the total number of students and the average rating. These values appear in the instructor card on the sidebar. Next, we will load the related products by the same seller. So in here, in this query, this retrieves the other courses from the same instructor, excluding the current product, limited to 3 products. Then after that, we will store them to the variable related. Then we will check the purchase status. Here we will check whether the user has already purchased the product. If the bot is true, then the user will see already enrolled, go to my learnings instead of the enrolled button. Next, we will check if the product is already in the watch list and in the cart. So here we have the watch list query and the cart query. So these checks allows us to update the cart and the watch list button status. Now that we have built already the instructor card, we will first prepare the seller name. Then inside the user interface, we will display the instructor name, the seller's join date, and the seller statics. So for example, we will show the courses, students, and the rating. So these values come from the variable SS array. So we will also show the message instructor button if the user is a buyer. So as you can see in the design, I have the hero section. So here first I have the product image conditional rendering. So here what happens is that the variable P is an associative array containing the product or the course data. So in here the condition says that if the product has an image, then show the image, else show nothing. Then below that, in the breadcrumb navigation, here I have the category condition. So this means that if this product has a category, then show the category link. Then in the badge section, you have the level badge. So this prints the course level. Then after that, here it shows the enrolled status logic. The variable bought is likely a Boolean variable. So this means that if the user already bought or enrolled, then show the enrolled badge. Then below that you have the course title output. So this simply prints the product title. So in the quick status, you can see it shows the review statistics of the product. So this uses the PHP Elvis operator. So this means that if the variable average R exists, then show the rating, else show new. Then next you can see in here, this shows the reviews count, and then I have the student count. So the number formats the numbers and shows the number of the students enrolled. Then next I have the instructor's name. So this variable likely comes from the join query, and then shows the instructor's name in here. Then below that you can see when this product was created. So here I have the date formatting. So the string to time means it converts the string date to timestamp, and the date formats the timestamp. Then below that, in the description area, we can get the course description. 2L to BR means that it converts new lines to HTML line breaks. Then next I have the features loop. So in here, this is a for each loop. So it shows in an array the full course access, lifetime access, direct support, resources, certificate and expert content, which means that this loop runs 6 times and then prints this inside the card 6 times each. Then in the review section, for the average rating, if it has none, it will show a dash, and in here for the review count, if there is 1, it will show 1, but if there is more than 1, then it will show with the letter S, review. Then below that we have the variable review. So in here, if means that if this review exists, then it will show the review list. So the variable reviews is probably an array from the database. Then next, in the reviews loop, it loops through each review. Next in here, it is the reviewer name construction. So if the name exists, then it will show the full name, else it will show as anonymous. Then next, I have the reviewer initials. So this creates the initial letters for an avatar. So here it means that it will take the first letter of the first name and take the first letter of the last name and then convert it to a uppercase and then show it as the avatar. Then next you have the review rating. So in here the data star int_val converts the rating into an integer. So for example, if the rating is 4.7, it will convert it to 4. Then the JavaScript convert it into star icons. So then lastly, this means that if the review has a text, it will show the review message, else it will only show the rating. Then below that you have the related skills. In this area, the variable related will check if the related products exist, then it will show the related courses and then loop them through by a for each. And here in the header section, you can see it will show more by this seller name, and in the for each it will show the product ID, the image URL if there is a image, and then the difficulty level of the product, then the title and the price. Next I have the write or the sticky sidebar. In here you have the CTA card. So in this CTA card, this will first show the product's image. If a product is there, then it will show the product's price and the text one-time lifetime access. Then here there are 4 status for the purchase state logic. So the first one is already enrolled. So this means from the variable bot, if the user already purchased, then it will show already enrolled and go to my learnings. And next in here it will see whether it's a buyer or a seller. If it's a buyer, then it will show the button enroll now, and it will also show the cart and the watch list buttons. So if the user is not logged in, then it will show sign to enroll, else if it's a seller, then it will show sellers cannot enroll. Next I have the meta information loop. In here it shows the level, the number of students enrolled, the rating and the date it was added. So this is an array destructuring. Then here I have each iteration which returns the icon, the label and the value. So for example, it will show the emoji, the icon, the label as level and the value as beginner. Next in the instructor card, it will first show the first letter of the instructor name in here, then the instructor's name, then when the instructor joined this platform, then the instructor's statistics as the courses, the number of students enrolled and the rating. Then lastly I have the message instructor condition. So this means that this will be only shown to the buyers who can send messages to instructors. Then finally we added JavaScript for the star ratings. So this function creates star icons. In here we will apply it to each review. From the document query, select all data star for each, and the constant variable average EL is assigned to document.getElement by average stars, and also for the average rating, which makes this rating visually dynamic. So as you can see, in the head section, first I have the breadcrumb navigation. So if I click on this category, it will take me back to the search products page with the category ID 5. And then next in here it shows me the difficulty level of this product, then the category this belongs to, then the product title, then the number of reviews it has, the number of students enrolled, and then the instructor's name, and when this product has been added to this platform. Then here the description of this product, then what's included within a for each loop. You can see the full course access, lifetime access, direct support, resources, certificate, and expert content. Then here it shows the reviews. So this has 2 stars plus 1 review. So in here inside this avatar it shows the first initial of the first name and the last name of the reviewer and the comment over here. And next in this section it shows the products that are related to this seller. So if I click on this, it takes me to the product view page of that product with the product ID 1. Now if I go back, then here it shows me the product details, the product image, the price of it, and then the buttons enroll now, add to cart, and watch list. And here the meta information with the emoji, level, beginners, number of students enrolled 0, the ratings, and the date it was added. And here it has the instructor card. It shows the first initial letter of the seller's name, then the seller's name in here, then when this seller has joined this platform, then the number of courses, the number of students enrolled, and the number of ratings this seller has. And then it shows the message instructor because I have logged in as a buyer. And as you can see, now I have signed in as a seller. So if I click on a product, it shows me that sellers cannot enroll, and it doesn't show the enroll now button. And now if I sign out and change this to the product view page, it shows me sign to enroll button, and it doesn't show me the other 2 buttons as well because I didn't sign in. Now our single product view is fully functional. It dynamically shows the product details, the seller information, the ratings and the reviews, and then the student count, the related courses, the watch list and the cart status, and finally the enrollment status. And that's how we program the single product view page including the seller information in the Skillshop project. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.